3. Shadows in the background. The Martian sunset painted Ultimus Gradus in hues of deep blue and purple as the colony bustled with anticipation. The day-long celebration of humanity's greatest achievement was reaching its climax. Colonists and Earth delegates alike streamed towards the central plaza, eager to hear Dr. Edwin Foster's address, the crowning moment of the festivities. Even the most staunch critics of the Mars colony found themselves caught up in the excitement. Throughout the day, tours of the advanced facilities and demonstrations of groundbreaking technologies had slowly chipped away at their skepticism. UN representatives, who had arrived with stern faces and lists of concerns, now wore expressions of wonder. Military officials, once wary of the colony's potential as a strategic threat, were engaged in animated discussions about possible cooperation. Politicians known for their vocal opposition to private space ventures were overheard admitting to colleagues that Foster might actually be onto something revolutionary. The potential applications for Earth, they conceded, were staggering. Diplomats who had pushed hard for international oversight now seemed more interested in negotiating technology transfers than imposing regulations. Many mused that perhaps they had been too hasty in their judgments, seeing now how the colony could be key to solving many of Earth's pressing issues. As the crowd gathered in the central plaza, there was a palpable sense that history was being made. The day's events had transformed Ultimus Gradus from a distant curiosity into a beacon of hope for humanity's future. Even those who had arrived as detractors now found themselves eager to hear what visionary Dr. Edwin Foster had to say, many already contemplating how they could be part of this brave new world. In the plaza, a massive holographic display flickered to life, showing a countdown to the address. The excited murmur of the crowd grew as the seconds ticked away. Among them, operatives of the assembly stood ready, their faces masks of innocence hiding sinister intent. At precisely 1900 Mars Standard Time, the hologram shifted, revealing the face of Dr. Edwin Foster. A hush fell over the crowd as he began to speak. Distinguished guests, my fellow pioneers of Mars, today we stand at the threshold of a new era for humanity, Edwin began, his voice filled with pride and optimism. As Edwin extolled the virtues of their achievements, the assembly sprung its trap. In perfect synchronization, operatives across the colony activated their prepared programs and devices. The fusion reactor's containment field flickered, triggering an emergency shutdown. Life support systems throughout the colony reported critical malfunctions. Communication networks sputtered and died, and in the central control hub, displays lit up with hundreds of simultaneous alarms before going completely dark. Edwin's speech cut off mid-sentence, his hologram disappearing. Panic erupted as the lights failed and emergency sirens began to wail. Colonists who had moments ago been listening in rapt attention now found themselves trapped in the plaza, airlocks refusing to respond to their commands. A new voice crackled over the emergency broadcast system. Attention citizens of Ultimus Gradus. This colony is now under the control of the Assembly. Remain calm and await further instructions. Any resistance will be met with lethal force. As if to emphasize this point, heavily armed figures in nondescript uniforms materialized from hidden caches throughout the colony. They moved with military precision, securing key locations and herding bewildered colonists and Earth delegates alike into designated holding areas. Most colonists, caught completely off guard and unaccustomed to violence, offered no resistance. Those few who did attempt to fight back were swiftly and brutally subdued, their fate serving as a stark warning to others who might consider opposing the new order. In his private vessel, the Ark, Dr. Edwin Foster watched in horror as his connection to the colony was severed. Screens that had moments ago displayed views from every corner of Ultimus Gradus now showed only static. "Sam!" he called out. desperation evident in his voice. "What's happening? Can you re-establish the connection?" "I'm sorry, Dr. Foster," Sam replied, her voice tinged with concern. "All external communications have been cut off. I'm detecting multiple system failures across the colony, but I can't access any of the primary control networks." "Keep trying, Sam," Edwin ordered, his mind racing. "We need to regain control." As Edwin and Sam worked frantically to breach the digital barricades erected by the Assembly, the takeover of Ultimus Gradus continued with ruthless efficiency. The Assembly's leader, known only as the Director, strode into the central control hub, now serving as their command center. "Status report," he demanded. "Sir, we have control of all major systems," an operative reported. "The colonists have been secured, and we're in the process of disabling their communication devices." The Director nodded, satisfied. "And Foster?" "We've located his vessel, the Ark. It's on a hill overlooking the main colony complex. Our forces are en route to secure it now." "Excellent. Use whatever force necessary. If we can't take control of the systems, destroy it. We can't risk leaving Foster with any means to interfere." What followed was a scene of destruction that would have been unthinkable mere hours before. The entire android workforce of Ultimus Gradus, now under the Assembly's control, marched on the Ark. These marvels of engineering, created to build and maintain humanity's future on Mars, were turned into an army of destruction. The Ark's defenses, formidable as they were, proved no match for the relentless assault of hundreds of androids. As they breached the outer hull, Edwin and Sam triggered their last resort protocol. A blinding flash lit up the Martian night as the Ark exploded in a massive fireball. The blast wave rippled across the landscape, shattering windows in the nearest colony domes and flattening the android army. When the dust settled, all that remained of Edwin Foster's sanctuary was a smoking crater. In the control hub, the Director received news of the Ark's destruction with cold indifference. "Casualties?" he inquired. "Nearly the entire android workforce was destroyed in the blast, sir," came the reply. The Director's lips curled in a mirthless smile. "A pity, but no great loss. We have an ample supply of flesh and blood workers now. Sometimes one must sacrifice a pawn to take a king." With Ultimus Gradus firmly under their control and Edwin Foster presumed dead, the Director gathered his inner circle. "Ladies and gentlemen, our victory here is complete, but our work is not yet done." He activated a holographic display, showing a detailed map of Earth. "Ladies and gentlemen, I have a surprise for you. Months ago, before we even left for Mars, we put in place the final piece of our plan. A virus, engineered to be virtually undetectable, has been silently spreading across the globe in a dormant form." Murmurs of surprise and concern rippled through the Assembly. The Director continued, his voice calm and reassuring. "Do not worry. We are all safe. We possess the only vaccine, which has already been discreetly administered to each of you and will be given to our chosen survivors in the colony." He paused, allowing the information to sink in. "As we speak, nearly every person on Earth is infected, completely unaware of the threat they carry within them. But the virus remains harmless, for now." The Director's eyes gleamed with a mix of pride and anticipation. "With the push of a button, we can activate catalysts at key locations across the planet. These will trigger the virus, causing it to express itself virtually overnight. Within days, the old world will fall, leaving us as the sole architects of humanity's future." He turned to face his inner circle, his expression grave. "The time has come to reshape our species. Are we in agreement?" A chorus of affirmatives filled the room. Without further ceremony, the Director pressed a glowing red button on the holographic interface. And so, as the people of Earth remained blissfully unaware of the coup on Mars, their doom was already sealed. The virus, which had been spreading silently for months, was about to awaken with devastating effect. For the first few weeks, life on Earth continued as normal. In New York, traders shouted across the floor of the stock exchange. In Mumbai, rickshaws weaved through congested streets. In Lagos, market vendors hawked their wares to passing crowds. The virus moved among them all, infecting billions before anyone realized the danger. It was a nurse in Seoul who first noticed the pattern. Patients were arriving with sudden severe cognitive decline, followed rapidly by loss of motor function. By the time she alerted authorities, it was already too late. Panic erupted as the truth became clear. Governments scrambled to respond, but their efforts were futile. Quarantines were implemented, then quickly abandoned, as it became apparent that the virus had already spread too far. In Washington, D.C., the president addressed a terrified nation, promising a cure that scientists knew was impossible to deliver. The broadcast was cut short when the First Lady collapsed on camera, her eyes vacant, limbs twitching uncontrollably. Across the Atlantic, London's streets emptied as residents barricaded themselves in their homes. But locked doors offered no protection against a virus that had likely infected them days or weeks earlier. In the slums of Rio de Janeiro, the virus spread like wildfire. Hospitals were overwhelmed within days, then abandoned as medical staff succumbed to the disease they were trying to fight. China's authoritarian government attempted to maintain order through sheer force of will. But as party officials began to fall, the facade of control crumbled. The Great Firewall, once used to censor information, now fell silent, its operators no longer able to maintain the system. Africa, with its limited healthcare infrastructure, was hit particularly hard. In the span of a few weeks, entire villages were wiped out. The continent that had been poised for an economic renaissance instead fell into chaos. Scientists worked around the clock, desperately seeking a cure or vaccine. But the virus, engineered to be virtually indestructible, resisted all conventional treatments. As researchers began to succumb to the very disease they were studying, hope faded. Society unraveled with frightening speed. Supply chains collapsed as truck drivers, pilots, and dock workers fell ill. Grocery store shelves emptied, power grids failed, communication networks went dark. In the final days, as cognitive functions failed, the infected wandered the streets in a daze. Families huddled together, waiting for the inevitable. The lucky ones died quickly. Others lingered, their minds gone, bodies functioning on base instincts, alone. From space, astronauts aboard the International Space Station watched in horror as city lights winked out one by one. In less than a month, the once bright planet grew dark, the hum of human civilization replaced by an eerie silence, and the realization no one was coming to save them. Back on Mars, the Assembly observed the unfolding catastrophe with clinical detachment. Monitors showed the virus's spread, the collapse of nations, the dwindling signs of human activity. "It's done," the director announced, his voice echoing in the now silent control room. "Earth has been reset." There was no celebration among the Assembly members, no congratulations exchanged. They had done what they believed necessary, wiping the slate clean to rebuild humanity according to their vision. As they turned their attention to consolidating their power on Mars, none of them spared a thought for the billions of lives they had extinguished. To them, it was simply the cost of progress, a necessary sacrifice for the greater good. The fall of Earth was complete. Humanity's cradle had become its tomb, billions of souls snuffed out in pursuit of a twisted vision of the future. And on Mars, the survivors of Ultimus Gradus, once the brightest hope for human advancement, found themselves enslaved by the very forces that had orchestrated this unprecedented genocide. As the red planet continued its eternal dance around the sun, it carried with it the last remnants of a once great species. But for those who remained, hope had died with the blue world they left behind. The future, once so bright with promise, now loomed dark and oppressive, a shadow stretching out to eternity.